It was a cold December evening. Soft flakes of snow were slowly falling to the ground between the tall buildings of New York. The city was bathed in lights, but there were some hearts that were immersed in darkness. The scent of Christmas, the smell of burning pine trees, and the sounds of laughter were mixed in the air, but a storm was brewing in the heart of one woman. Emma Williams, golden-haired, soft-hearted but strong-willed, sat at a long table. Divorce papers lay before her. She had a pen in her hand, but her fingers were trembling. Tears welled in her eyes, as if each word were squeezing the blood from her heart. Next to her sat her husband, Ryan Williams. Dressed in a blue suit, confident but confused inside, there was an odd silence on his face. Behind him stood Sophia Harper, dressed in red, beautiful, attractive, and seemingly confident. Her hand was on Ryan's shoulder, as if she were already celebrating her victory. Ryan's parents, George and Margaret Williams, and his sister Clara, were also in the room. Everyone had a mixed expression on their faces, some with regret, some with surprise, and some with quiet satisfaction. This was all happening during a Christmas party. Emma never imagined her marriage would end like this. 5 years ago, when she married Ryan, she was a simple girl, working an ordinary job, living an ordinary life. Ryan was a budding businessman, full of dreams. The early days were beautiful. Small apartment, little money, but lots of laughter. Emma stood by Ryan when his business failed, when he took out loans, when he stayed up all night making presentations. Emma even invested her savings in his dreams. But as Ryan became more successful, the distance between them grew. And then Sophia came into his life, the daughter of an investor, the shining figure of social circles, who had everything that Emma didn't have. Or at least that's what everyone thought. "Sign it, Emma," Ryan said softly, his voice cold. "It's better for both of us." The same eyes that had once held love now held alienation. Really? He thought to himself, but his mouth remained silent. "We all want this to go smoothly. It's Christmas. We should stay positive," Sophia said with a slight smile. Something in Emma's heart broke. Christmas, the day that had once been special to them both. He picked up the pen. His hand was shaking. Tears were falling one by one on the paper. There was complete silence in the room. At that moment, the door opened. An elderly man, dressed in a black coat, full of dignity, entered. His name was Mr. Henry Collins. George Williams asked in surprise, "You here?" "I've come to see Emma Williams," Mr. Collins said in a deep voice. Everyone in the room was shocked. Emma raised her head, wiping away her tears. "Yes, I'm Emma." Collins approached him. "I have come as the legal representative of your grandfather, Edward Hartman." Grandpa, he had died years ago. He was a simple person, at least that's what Emma thought. "You are to be given some documents this evening, according to his will." "Is this urgent now?" "We're dealing with a personal matter," Ryan said impatiently. Mr. Collins replied sternly, "This matter is also personal, but also extremely important." He pulled out a file. "Emma Hartman Williams, you are being transferred full ownership of your grandfather's company, Hartman Global Enterprises." Silence fell in the room. Sophia's face went pale. "What, that company?" "Yes," said Mr. Collins, "one of the top 10 investment companies in America. Current value of about $4.5 billion. Is this a joke?" The pen fell from Emma's hand. That simple girl, whom everyone considered weak, was the heiress of a billionaire. Mr. Collins added, "Your grandfather hid his true identity. He wanted you to choose a man who prioritized love over wealth." For 5 years we kept quiet, but now it's time for you to know the truth. Emma's tears were different now. They were not tears of sadness, but tears of awakening. He looked at Ryan. There was regret in his eyes. Or maybe shock. Sophia had slowly removed her hand from Ryan's shoulder. Emma looked at the divorce papers, picked up a pen, paused for a moment, then firmly wrote her name. Ryan was startled. Emma, wait, we can talk. You left me when I was everything to you. Today, when I have everything, I can't leave myself. She stood up. The tears had dried. There was dignity on her face. Mr. Collins, can we walk? Yes, Miss Hartman. This was the first time anyone had called him by that name. Emma walked towards the door. The Christmas tree was twinkling behind her, but a new sun had risen in her life. And no one knew that the real story had just begun. Part 2. 3 months had passed. The same streets of New York, but Emma's life had completely changed. She was now the CEO of Hartman Global Enterprises. But there was no arrogance in her manner, just quiet strength. The media was calling her the mysterious billionaire hires. But she knew her real test was yet to come. One day Mr. Collins entered her office. Miss Hartman, there is something important. Yes. Ryan Williams' company is in financial trouble. His major investor has canceled the deal. Emma remained silent. She knew who that investor was, Hartman Global. Ryan never knew that his success was secretly capped by an investment from Emma's grandfather. Do they want to meet? Emma asked calmly. Yes. They want to come here today. He wasn't as confident as before. His eyes were tired. Emma, I mean, Miss Hartman. Emma motioned for him to sit down. Speak, Mr. Williams. Ryan's voice was filled with emotion. I didn't know. I lost everything. Maybe I lost you too quickly. Emma looked me straight in the eye and said, You left me for lack of wealth. Today you have come to me for lack of wealth. Do you feel the difference? Ryan fell silent. I don't want to ruin you, Ryan. But I'm not here to save you either. Business is not an emotional game. He pushed a file toward her. This is an offer. We can buy your company. You can continue as an executive. But we will make the decisions. Ryan looked at the papers. And between us, Emma said in a soft but firm tone, whatever was between us ended on Christmas Eve. I gave you love, you taught me a lesson. At that moment the door opened. Sophia came in, but her manner no longer carried that confidence. Ryan, we should go, he said, but his eyes were fixed on Emma. Emma stood up. Life is strange. Sophia, sometimes the one you think is weak turns out to be the strongest. Sophia lowered her eyes. Ryan looked at Emma one last time. Is forgiveness ever possible? Forgiveness frees the heart, and I have freed myself. They both left. Snow was falling outside the window, but Emma's heart was at peace. She had found wealth, but more than that, she had found herself. A few months later, Emma set up a charitable foundation for women who had suffered divorce, betrayal, or financial hardship. She gave them capital to start businesses, training, and above all, confidence. In an interview, he was asked, "What is your greatest achievement?" "A billion-dollar empire." Emma smiled. "No, my greatest achievement is that I didn't let myself lose." Christmas came again. In the same hall, but this time the scene was different. Emma was the special guest. Ryan stood far away, silently watching her. There was longing in his eyes, but there was no burden in Emma's heart. She came on stage and said, "Life doesn't break us, it gives us identity. If someone underestimates you and leaves you, Remember, your value is not diminished by their eyes. The applause erupted. The snow was falling again. But this time, there were no tears. There was only dignity.